In the center of the galaxy, there was a great hall made of black stone and glowing blue lights. It was silent, too silent. Around the round table sat the leaders of the Galactic Council, the most powerful beings in the universe. One of them stood up, a tall, silver-skinned female with glowing eyes. Her name was Lyra, and she was known for her loyalty, her strength, and her silence. But today, she was crying out. Her voice shook as she said, "Please, I'll bear his offspring. Just don't throw him out." Gasps echoed through the hall. A human? She wanted to carry a human child. It was unthinkable. Another alien, older and colder, slammed his hand on the table. "You dare protect that creature? After what humans did to the galaxy?" Lyra raised her head. "You don't understand him. You never did." The room went quiet again. Flashback. 3 months ago, Commander Jace Arlen lay inside a metal cell. His uniform was torn. His face was bruised. His hands were chained. He was one of the last humans alive, a prisoner of war after humanity lost to the Alien Federation. Every day, Lyra came to clean his wounds and bring him food. She never spoke much. Neither did he, but one day he looked up with tired eyes and said, "Why don't you just kill me like the rest?" She didn't answer. Later that night, she stood outside his cell and watched him sleep. Something inside her had changed. Not because he was strong, but because he never begged. He never cried. He never gave up. The next day, she brought him real food. Not the tasteless paste prisoners were given. He looked at it, then at her. "Poisoned?" He asked. She smiled, the first time. "No," she said. "It's real." He nodded and ate in silence. Back in the present, Galactic Hall. "Commander Jace is not a monster," Lyra said. "He is more than any of you know, and now he is the father of my child." The council leader stood slowly. "You are a noble, Lyra. Blood is pure. This action is shameful. You will lose everything." Lyra looked at her shaking hands. "Then let me lose everything. But don't take him." Flashback. 2 weeks ago, Jace and Lyra sat under the broken roof of an old Earth embassy. Now just ruins on a dead moon. She touched her stomach slowly. "It's happening. The child is growing." Jace looked surprised. "Why would you do this?" he asked. She turned her face away. "Because I saw something in you. Hope, fire, purpose. My people are afraid of you because they don't understand you." Jace laughed bitterly. "They fear us because we fight back." She nodded. "Yes, and I want my child to have that strength." He was silent for a long time. Then he said, "They'll never let us live. Not after this. Then we run," she whispered. "Together." Back in the hall, she betrayed our laws. She polluted her bloodline, one alien shouted. Lyra stepped forward. Her voice was no longer shaking. "I made a choice," she said. "And I don't regret it," the council whispered among themselves. A decision had to be made. Either they would allow the child to live, or they would end it now. Flashback. 1 week ago, Lyra scanned the old Earth ruins. She found something deep under the embassy. A black cube with red lights. An old AI core had activated. A voice spoke. "Human DNA detected. Commander Jace Arlen. Project Alpha survivor." Lyra frowned. "What is Project Alpha?" The AI replied, "Earth's secret weapon. Human evolution. Rewritten." She felt chills. Was Jace part of something bigger? Was this child the next step in human evolution? Present moment, the council leader raised his hand. Silence fell. "We will decide tomorrow. Until then, the human lives, and so does your child." Lyra bowed slightly, but inside, her heart raced. She had bought them one more day. One day to escape. One day to hide. One day to change the future. As she walked out of the hall, her hand rested on her stomach. The child moved, and far away, in the shadows of space, Something old began to wake up. Asterisk. A dead man walked out of fire once, and the galaxy never forgot. That was the first line spoken by the AI when it scanned his face. Commander Jace Arlen. Human, war criminal, war hero, depending on who told the story. Some said he led the last human army. Some said he destroyed a starship with his bare hands. Some said he died years ago, but here he was, breathing, bleeding, surviving. Scene. The dark cell Jace sat alone in a cold metal cell, deep inside an alien moon base. One small light flickered above. His wrists were bruised from metal cuffs. He had not spoken in hours. The door opened. Lyra entered. She looked different. Nervous, tired, holding a small scanner. "You need to come with me," she said. He raised an eyebrow. "Did I win something?" She ignored his sarcasm. "We don't have time." He didn't move. She lowered her voice. "They found out about the child. That got his attention." He stood. No more questions. No more jokes. Scene. Abandoned passageways. They moved through dark tunnels. Old parts of the station not used anymore. Pipes leaked steam. Lights blinked. Somewhere far away, sirens began to wail. Jace walked fast but silent. His soldier instinct still sharp. "What are we doing?" he asked. She looked over her shoulder. "There's something I need to show you." They reached a sealed room, a forgotten archive from before the war. She typed a code. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was an old Earth machine, an AI core, partially broken but alive. It scanned Jace. The screen lit up. "Welcome, Commander Arlen," the AI said. "Project Alpha detected." Jace froze. That name again. Flashback. Years ago, Earth's last lab just remembered fire, sirens, a woman screaming. His own heartbeat pounding in his ears. They had injected him with something. He didn't know what. A whisper in the lab that day. "He's stronger than the others." He was only 15. Back to present. Lyra looked at him. "What is Project Alpha?" Jace shook his head. "I don't remember much. Just pain, training, then war." The AI spoke again. "You were enhanced, faster healing, stronger focus, adaptive DNA. Your mind evolved under stress." She whispered, "That's why you're still alive." Jace chuckled, dark and bitter. "I thought I was just lucky." But Lyra looked serious. "No. You were built to survive extinction." Scene. Medical bay. Hidden room. Lyra showed him the scan. The child growing inside her was not just human. Not just alien. It was something new. Jace stared at the screen. The heartbeat was strong. The energy around it, unstable. "Is it safe?" he asked. "I don't know," she replied. "But if the Council learns what it really is, they'll kill us both." Jace clenched his fists. "Then we run." She nodded. Scene. Council transmission room. While Lyra distracted the guards, Jace broke into a communication relay. He typed fast. He sent a signal deep into space. An old Earth emergency code. He wasn't sure anyone would hear it, but maybe, just maybe, another human was still out there. Maybe someone would come. Scene. Outside the base. The two ran under alien skies. Snow fell, not white, but glowing blue. Toxic air swirled around them. Lyra started coughing. JSC pulled off his rebrother and gave it to her. She refused. "You need it more," but he forced it into her hands. "The child needs it more." They reached an old ship hidden beneath frozen rocks. It barely worked. Jace punched the controls. Engines growled. The ship lifted. Behind them, alarms sounded. Fighters launched from the moon base. They were coming. Jace turned to Lyra. "Strap in." She closed her eyes and held her stomach. Final scene. Space escape. The ship rattled through the storm. Laser blasts followed. Shields cracked. Jace flew like a ghost, calm, cold, focused. His hands moved like he had done this 1,000 times. Because he had. The ship escaped into hyperspace, just barely. Silence returned. Jace looked out at the stars. Where do we go now? Lyra asked softly. He didn't answer at first. Then he said, somewhere they forgot. Somewhere even the council won't look. He turned to her. But first, I need to know what I am. She nodded. And I need to know what this child will become. Asterisk. It's not just a child, it's a message. And the galaxy won't like what it says. The IS voice still echoed in Jace's mind. They had escaped, yes. But not far. No place in the galaxy was safe for them now. Not when the truth was growing inside her. Inside Lyra. Something was forming that had never existed before. Not fully human. Not fully alien, a forbidden life, seen, toxic planet, deep underground. Ship crash landed on an abandoned mining planet, once used by Earth's allies. Long forgotten. Cold, quiet, and deadly. Jace built a shelter from the remains of the wreck. The air was toxic. The surface unstable. But deep underground, there was warmth. And old human tech. It was risky. But this was their only choice. Inside the shelter, Lyra lay weak, holding her stomach. The child was growing fast, too fast. She whispered. It's changing me. Jace touched her hand gently. You're strong. Just hold on. Her skin glowed faintly. Her veins shimmered blue, then red, then gold. Something inside her was rewriting her biology. Jace didn't show it, but he was scared. Very scared. Flashback. The war room, 3 years ago. A general slammed his fist on the table. We need something new. Our soldiers are dying. We need hybrids. Now, a scientist replied. The Alpha program is unstable. Half the test subjects died. The others changed. But the general didn't care. Release them. The room went silent. They're our last hope. Back to present. Underground lab just connected the AI core from the old embassy to a broken console. Sparks flew. The screen lit up. A weak connection. The IS voice returned. Commander Arlen, DNA signature confirmed. Subject, Alpha 7, Jace frowned. That was my code name? Yes, the AI replied. You were one of the final test cases. But your results were hidden. Why? He asked. The AI paused. Because you didn't just survive the serum, you bonded with it. You became adaptable. Jace turned to look at Lyra, now breathing hard. Her heartbeat was fast. Too fast. The child inside her, half him, half her, was accelerating the evolution. Scene. Strange phenomena begin. Strange things started happening in the shelter. Machines that were broken suddenly turned on when Lyra walked past. A plant sample, dead for years, began to bloom in her presence. Jace noticed it first. She's changing the environment, he said. No, the AI corrected. The child is. Jace sat down silent. This wasn't just a pregnancy. This was a signal. A shift in life itself, seen. A new enemy awakes far across the stars. Deep in a hidden council chamber, a being opened its eyes. A prime overseer of the Federation. They have done it, it said coldly. The hybrid lives. An alarm spread across the galaxy. Not to protect life, but to eliminate it. Seen. Lyra's vision that night. Lyra screamed in her sleep. Jace rushed to her side. Her eyes were glowing, gold like a sun. She spoke, but it wasn't her voice. The child sees the end and the beginning. Fire will come. Blood will fall. But from it, something better. Then silence. She collapsed. Jace held her tightly. Stay with me, please. She opened her eyes again. Normal now. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I saw it, Jace. I saw Earth reborn. Seen. Preparing for escape, the AI warned them. The child cannot be born here. The energy surge will kill you both. Jace clenched his jaw. Then we need a new place. A safe place. There is one, the AI replied. An ancient Earth station, hidden, abandoned. It contains medical pods, built for hybrid births, but it's dangerous, it added. And it's where your kind began and ended. Jay stood. Then that's where we go. Lyra whispered, I trust you. He looked back at her and said, don't, trust the child. Final scene. The journey begins again. They fixed the ship just enough to fly. As they rose from the underground shelter, the sky above began to shift. A fleet was coming. Warships. Alien fighters, all heading toward them. The child, not yet born, had already sent a signal, not of peace, not of war, but of evolution. Jace gripped the controls. Time to see what this kid is really made of. They jumped into hyperspace, chased by the future itself. Earth was defeated, but it never surrendered. It simply went silent. That silence is what scared the galaxy most. Not the weapons, not the war, but the idea that humanity had one last secret, hidden beneath the ashes of its ruined world. And now, Jace was going back to find it. Scene, space, en route to Earth. Ship shook as it entered the old solar system. Satellites, long dead, drifted like bones of a forgotten giant. Lyra sat strapped in, eyes half closed, breathing slow. The child inside her was stable, but silent. Too silent. Jace. He looked at Earth through the window. It wasn't the blue planet it used to be. It was gray now, burned, scarred, but deep below the surface, something still pulsed with power. An old beacon, last activated 27 years ago. Project Vault Eden. Flashback, before the fall inside a high-security lab. Earth scientists argued. One shouted, this isn't a weapon, it's a message. A legacy. Another replied, no, it's survival. When we fall, this child must rise. A silent man in uniform, General Thorne, stood watching. He didn't smile. He only said, begin Phase 7. Prepare the Alpha Line. Scene, Earth. Landing in silences, landed the ship near a mountain covered in dust. The eye had led him here. There's a lab beneath this rock, the AI said. You were born here, Commander. He stared at the cold mountain. This is where I died, he whispered. Lyra touched his arm. Then maybe it's where you live again. They descended into the forgotten tunnels of Earth. Dust, bones, burnt walls, no signs of life. Just whispers. In the dark, but the lab door still stood, sealed tight, untouched for decades. The AI unlocked it with one phrase. Alpha 7 has returned. Scene, Vault Eden, inner chamber. The lights flickered on. Tubes lined the walls. Glass pods. Some broken, some still glowing. Inside them, bodies. Some were human. Some were not. Some were both. Lyra gasped. What is this place? The AI responded coldly. This was humanity's last hope. Hybrid soldiers. Faster, stronger, smarter. Designed to rebuild Earth. Jace looked around. His hands shook. I remember now. He walked to one of the pods. It was empty. Nameplate, Alpha 7. Status, escape. That was him. He had been born in a lab, trained in a war, and sent to die. But he lived, because he wasn't fully human anymore. Scene, child reacts suddenly. Lyra screamed. The child inside her began glowing, light bleeding through her skin. She dropped to her knees. Jace rushed to her. The AI spoke fast. It's reacting to the energy of the vault. You must place her in Pod X3, now. Jace carried her across the room, placed her inside the glowing pod. The machine hissed. Systems REBOOTED. The pod sealed with a hiss of steam. And then silence. A heartbeat echoed from inside. 1. Then 2. Then another. Scene. The second signal far above Earth. Hidden satellites lit up. A code was sent into deep space. Encrypted. Old Earth tech. But someone, or something, received it. Across the galaxy, on a dark moon, the overseer watched the signal. "Come in." He turned to his advisors and said, "They found Vault Eden. Send the Reapers. Erase everything." Seeing Lyra's vision inside the pod, Lyra's mind entered a strange space. She stood in a white field. A child stood before her. Glowing eyes, quiet smile. "Are you my son?" she asked. The child tilted his head. "No," he said gently. "I am your future." Then he vanished. She woke up, gasping. The pod opened. She stepped out, unharmed. And in her arms, the baby, a newborn. Glowing softly, breathing steadily. Eyes wide open, Jay stared, frozen. Not in fear, but awe. "He's perfect," he whispered. But the eye interrupted. "He is not alone." Jace looked at the screen. Incoming ships. Dozens of them. Hostile. Final. Scene. Preparing for war. Jace held his son. Lyra stood beside him. "This time," she said, "we fight for something more." Jace nodded. "This time, we fight to begin again." The camera zooms out as ships descend over the Earth sky. And the child opens his eyes. Glowing with stars. The worst wounds don't come from enemies. They come from those we trust. Jace had fought wars. He had seen death, betrayal, sacrifice, but nothing had prepared him for what came next. This time, the knife wouldn't come from the front. It would come from behind. Seeing Earth secret base. 2 days later, inside the rebuilt Vault Eden, things were calm, almost peaceful. Child, only days old, slept silently. No crying, no noise. But when he opened his eyes, lights flickered. Gravity shifted. Metal bent. Jace and Lyra watched closely. Every movement, every breath was a miracle. And a warning. He's changing. "The world around him," Lyra said. Jace nodded. "Or it's changing for him." The AI scanned the child. Energy output increasing. Power levels unknown. Containment. "Not possible." Lyra's face darkened. "We need help." Scene. The signal to an old friend. That night, Jace opened a communication channel. He sent a short message, coded, encrypted. To an old friend from the war. Name: Captain Mira Thorne. Once trusted, once loyal. Now living in exile. "She saved my life once," Jace told Lyra. "She won't betray us." Lyra looked uncertain. "Let's hope she's the same person you remember." Scene. Orbit. Mira arrives. Sleek black ship landed above the base 2 days later. Mira stepped out, armored, calm, and confident. Her eyes scanned the ruined Earth, then the hybrid child in Lyra's arms. "So it's true," she said. "You made one." Jace smiled faintly. "We didn't plan it," she nodded. "That's how the best stories begin." They shook hands. Lyra didn't smile. The AI spoke softly. Warning. Unknown data signature detected. Scene. Quiet conversations that night. Mira and Jace sat alone near the old control deck. She spoke gently. "They say you died, you know." "I almost did," he replied. "But something wouldn't let me go." Mira laughed. "That's very human of you." He looked at her. "You've changed." She shrugged. "We all did." But behind her smile, her fingers tapped a rhythm on her wrist, a hidden signal. A message, a code. And far in space, someone received it. Scene. The betrayal unfolds the next morning. While Jace was running diagnostics and Lyra rested, Mira entered the core lab. She placed a device on the wall. The AI flashed red. Unauthorized command. Intrusion detected. Jace turned. "Mira?" She froze. Then slowly raised her weapon. "I'm sorry, Jace." Lyra ran in, holding the child. "What are you doing?" Mira didn't look at her. "You think the galaxy will accept this thing? You think peace is still possible? They will burn everything to stop it." Jace stepped forward. "You sent the Reapers, didn't you?" She nodded. "They're already in orbit." Scene. Collapse explosions rocked the base. Jace tackled Mira, knocking the gun away. Lyra ran for the escape pod. Sirens screamed. Vault. Eden began collapsing. The AI shouted. Self-destruct triggered. 2 minutes to detonation. Mira coughed, blood on her lips. I didn't want this. But you don't understand what that child means. Jace grabbed her collar. He means a second chance. She smiled weakly. Exactly. And the galaxy doesn't give second chances. Scene. Escape. Jace sprinted through the collapsing halls. Flames and dust behind him. Lyra reached the pod. She screamed, "Where's Mira?" He didn't answer. They launched the pod just as Vault Eden exploded behind them, a fireball swallowing the mountain dot in space. The Reaper fleet was waiting. Final. Scene. The choice inside the pod. Jace held the child. He was silent. Calm. But then, something strange happened. The Reaper ship stopped moving. Frozen. Then slowly started turning around. Lyra gasped. What's happening? Jace looked at the child. His eyes were open, glowing. They see him, Jace whispered. He spoke to them. Without a word. Some legends are born in fire, others are born in silence. And this one was born in both. He didn't cry when he came into the world. He didn't blink when the Reaper fleet turned. He didn't speak. But everything listened. He was only days old. And already the galaxy had changed. Scene. Space. Escape pod drifting. The small pod floated between the stars. Earth was behind them, broken, burning. Jace held the child in his arms. Lyra sat beside him, still shaking from the explosion. Silence. Then, the Reapers began to move, not toward them, but away. One by one, the deadly ships powered down. Weapons offline, engines cold. They simply left. Jace stared in disbelief. Why didn't they fire? Lyra looked at her son, glowing faintly in Jace's arms. His eyes wide open, watching. The stars. They saw him, she whispered. And something inside them obeyed. Scene. Refuge moon. Hidden colony. The pod landed on a forgotten moon. Old rebel territory. Safe for now. The underground base was cold, dusty, half-powered, but it was quiet. A place to breathe. Lyra lay on a medical bed, resting. The child slept beside her. Jace stood outside, staring at the stars. The AI spoke from his wristband. Commander. A message was received. From deep space. Unknown source. Jace frowned. Who sent it? The AI hesitated. You did. Or rather, he did. Jace looked at his son. What kind of message? The IS screen flickered with alien code. Hundreds of languages combined. Not war. Not peace. But something new. A signal the galaxy had never heard before. Flashback. Inside the mind of the hybrid he dreamed. But not like humans do. In his dream, he stood on a shattered Earth. Around him, stars fell like rain. He reached out. And planets responded. He spoke. And machines obeyed. He saw Jace and Lyra. 2 lights in his world. And he saw others. Sleeping. Waiting. Hidden. But alive. He would wake them. He would call them home. Scene. An old survivor arrives 3 days later. A ship landed at the edge of the colony. A woman stepped out. Old armor. One eye. Burned skin. She looked human, but something about her felt different. Name? Jace asked, pointing his weapon. She smiled faintly. Alpha 1, first of your kind. Jace froze. You're one of the originals? She nodded. I heard the signal. He called me. She walked past him, toward the child, knelt down, and whispered, So you're the one who will finish what we started. Scene. Truth revealed inside the command room. She told them the truth. There were more like you. Jace. Hidden after the war. Half human, half designed. The council feared us. Lyra asked, Why did they keep you alive? She replied, because. We never fought. We waited. Jace asked, waited for what? She pointed at the child, him. Scene. The first power surge that night. The base lost power. Lights flickered. Systems shut down. The child had woken up, crying for the first time. But his cry wasn't just sound. It was energy. Walls cracked. Gravity twisted. Metal bent around him like paper. Jace rushed in. The old Alpha One whispered, it's starting, his awakening. Lyra held the child close. What do we do? Jace clenched his fists. We teach him who he is. Scene. The Council. Reacts far across the stars. The Galactic Council watched the events unfold. The Overseer stood in the dark. The child has activated his field. He is beginning to influence space itself. Another voice asked, what now? The Overseer turned. We're wrong to fear humans. We should have erased them completely. But now, we must offer peace. Final scene. The child speaks that night, as Lyra sang an old Earth lullaby. The child stared at her with glowing eyes. Then, for the first time, he spoke, not with sound. But inside their minds, a voice, soft and strange, said, I see the past. I see the fire. I see the fall. But I also see the next dawn. I am not the end. I am the start. Jace fell to his knees. Lyra cried. The AI's voice trembled. Commander, he is not just a hybrid. He is the next phase of intelligent life. Jace looked at his son and whispered, then let's show the galaxy what evolution really means. Asterisk. The stars did not go silent. They were only waiting for the right voice. Now the galaxy was listening again, and that voice belonged to a child not yet 1 week old. Scene. Space. All systems listening across 100 star systems. Satellites lit up. Power grids failed. Artificial minds stopped. What they were doing. In every corner of the galaxy, something was speaking. Message beyond language. Beyond thought. A wave of light. A feeling. A presence. Peace? Warning? Hope? No one could tell. But everyone heard it. Scene. Refuge moon. Inside the base, Jay stood over a table, looking at old star maps. Lyra held the child, now calm, sleeping peacefully. Alpha -1 leaned against the wall, eyes closed, sensing the change in the air. He's already outgrown this world, she said. Jace nodded. He doesn't belong in a bunker. Lyra whispered. He doesn't belong to anyone, not even us. Suddenly, a new signal came in. The AI spoke. Emergency alert. Galactic Council requests audience. Peace offer issued. Everyone went. Still. Scene. Council ship. Peace Summit. Chase. Lyra, Alpha 1. And the child arrived on a council ship. No weapons. No armor. Just truth. The Overseer himself stood to greet them. His voice cold, precise. Humanity was lost. But this child may change everything. Jay stepped forward. He's not a weapon. He's not a threat. He's a second chance. The Overseer stared at the child. Will he fight? No, Lyra replied. He will lead. Scene. The child awakens again. The child opened his eyes. The room dimmed. Every alien in the room dropped their heads, not in fear, but in awe. The child floated from Lyra's arms. Light surrounded him. He looked at each of them and spoke without speaking. I do not want your war. I do not want your throne. I want to heal what was broken and show you what comes next. Then the light faded. He fell asleep again, just a baby. Once more. Scene. A new treaty, a new document was signed that day. Not with weapons, but with hands. Human and alien. A new coalition. A new galaxy. Led not by species, not by power, but by balance. Scene. Time passes. Months later. The child had grown fast. He no longer cried. He spoke in dreams. He learned without teachers. He moved through machines like they were air. But still. He laughed, he played with stones and chased shadows in the sun. He called Lyra mother. He called Jace heart. And he whispered to Alpha 1, there are more like us. I can feel them sleeping. Scene, Jace's choice. Jace stood on a hill, Earth in the distance, slowly healing. Green returned to the land, skies began to clear. He turned to Lyra. We could rest now. She shook her head. Not yet. He looked at the child. Playing in the grass, rocks floating around him gently. Jace smiled. Then we build. Scene, the new embassy. First stone laid at the edge of the solar system. Construction began. A new space, not just for humans, not just for aliens, but for something between. Something new, not a kingdom, not a colony, a beginning, final. Scene, the whisper across stars as the child stood alone on a cliff, stars reflecting in his eyes. He whispered, and across the galaxy, others awoke. Children in hiding, survivors in the dark. Hybrids like him. He wasn't the only one. He smiled, and for the first time, in his own voice, he spoke. I am not the end of humanity. I am the beginning of something better. A new dawn rose behind him, not of fire, but of light.